Hey, is it working?
Yeah, it is.
Okay, so today we're going to have a tutorial on media and identity. Please enjoy.
Today we're going to talk about media and identity. When we talk about media and identity, what comes to mind? We all know they have a pretty complicated relationship, but how exactly is media related to identity? In exploring the connections between media and identity, we've realized that there's been a gradual but obvious transition within the media-identity relation. Let's take a look at how the linkage between media and identity has evolved over the course of our readings. One of the more interesting things we've realized is the shift in dynamics between media and identity. What do we mean? At first, identity was, in a way, subversive to media forms. In Merritt's article, the Nickelodeon theatre was a distinctive representation of the lower-class plebeians, whereas operas were for the rich, upper-class folk who could afford it. In a way, they were social gatherings for people who came from specific social classes. Later on, the theatre decided it would try to attract more women and children, and it finally climbed the ladder towards the bourgeois class. The fact of the matter is, rigid boundaries were established between different social classes and different genders, basically very mutually exclusive. Media confined and reinforced social roles and classes, and it affirmed our identity within society. Today, media is a lot more inclusive. In Greenberg's article, he explores how media was a powerful means by which people with the same tastes were brought together as a community. There was this idea of a shared identity, but unlike in the past, this identity was positive, encouraging, and it served to blend rather than to divide. It was a communal identity, not a social identity. Fast forward to the 21st century. Today, we control media. We use it to help us define, express, and develop our identity. But even so, the linkage between media and identity differs between different platforms. Let's take a look at some current examples that I'm sure we'll all be familiar with. Firstly, media can be used as an extension of reality to further enhance our identity, like Facebook. It functions as an accessory to your social life. Our identities are the main course, and Facebook is the side dish. You get the picture. You could go to a party and make friends. You add them on Facebook, your pictures are tagged. You get associated to people and your social network expands. However, some media helps us to establish different personas and identities, separate from reality. Now let's take a look at another popular social medium, Tumblr. People who are so-called Tumblr famous don't have to be famous or even popular in Facebook or real life. People who follow you don't have to know who you are in real life and vice versa. The blog is structured such that it doesn't reveal anything about you as a person unless you want it to. You are your nickname and that's all there is to it. You are the pictures that you reblog, the poems you post, the songs you sing. People reblog your posts because they have an affinity with its content, and also some aspect of your personality. Tumblr differentiates the real you from your online self. You could be a whole other person and nobody knows and no one cares. In short, media today is more free and easy. The link between media and identity, however, still varies. It could help you to supplement your real-life identity or to establish a different identity. How does media and identity present itself in the documentary Catfish and the article Women's Work by Spiegel? It's basically the simple idea of confinement versus liberation. Today, media has become a platform to express our identity. In Catfish, Angela was trapped in an undesirable reality with handicapped children, an estranged daughter, and a struggling career. She escaped the harsh realities of life by creating alternative personas, her different Facebook profiles serving as a manifestation of the life she wished she could have had. Media was a way out. In women's work, media served to perpetuate social and gender stereotypes. The timing and content of television and radio shows reeked of gender distinctions and social restrictions. Media forms were tailored to suit women's work within the household. It was pretty much decided what information women would receive, and this information complemented their social role. In short, the media explored here had the same relationship with identity as we talked about before, the stifling, socially divisive kind. In this case, media helped to confine women to their social roles. Now, let's talk about media and its own identity. We'll make this short. In Thorburn and Jenkins' articles, media is portrayed as inherently experimental yet self-conscious, revolutionary and yet imitative. Do new forms of media consume its predecessor, or do they simply coexist as different forms of the same concept? Our answer is, media, although dynamic and ever-changing, manages to retain its identity, functions, and audience while constantly reinventing itself.
So there we have it, the ever-changing love-hate relationship between media and identity.
Although initially oppressive, media today has allowed us to be whoever we want to be.
Thanks for watching, and I hope you enjoyed our presentation.